While babysitting my neighbor's kids, their 6-year-old asked me, "Why does Daddy keep a Glock in the cereal box?" "He said it's for the bad people," Audrey whispered, her little brother Blake coloring quietly beside her at the kitchen table. I felt my heart stop because the Watneys had always swore that they would never own a firearm. Their favorite slogan was, "Hate has no place in this house." "Which cereal box, sweetie?" I asked, trying to keep my voice casual while my mind raced through possibilities. Audrey pointed to the pantry and said, "The Cheerios on the top shelf, but we're not supposed to touch it because Daddy said it's special." I walked over to the pantry, my hands slightly trembling as I opened the door. The Cheerios box sat there innocently on the top shelf, but something about it looked wrong. It was slightly crushed on one side like something heavy had been shoved inside. "Audrey, when did Daddy put this here?" I asked, setting the box carefully on the counter without opening it. She shrugged and said, "Yesterday, after Uncle Rick came to our house. Daddy was really mad and told Mommy we needed to be ready." That sent another chill down my spine because the Watneys hadn't mentioned any visitors or problems when they'd asked me to babysit tonight. Blake looked up from his coloring and added, "Uncle Rick was yelling about money and Daddy locked all the doors after he left." I noticed then that the deadbolt on the back door had been replaced with a heavy-duty one, and there were new locks on the windows I hadn't seen before. "Did your parents say when they'd be home?" I asked, checking my phone to see it was only 7 p.m. and they'd said they wouldn't be back until at least 11. Audrey shook her head and then said something that made my blood run cold. "Mommy was crying when they left and she hugged us for a really long time." I decided I needed to know what we were dealing with, so I carefully opened the Cheerios box while the kids weren't looking. Inside, wrapped in a plastic bag, was what looked exactly like a black lock, heavy and metallic. My hands started shaking as I quickly closed the box because this was way beyond anything I'd expected. That's when I heard a car pull into the driveway. Audrey ran to the window before I could stop her and said, "Oh look, it's Uncle Rick again." My heart nearly stopped as I grabbed both kids and pulled them away from the window. The doorbell rang once, twice, then someone started pounding on the door hard enough to shake the frame. "Open up, I know you're in there," a man's voice shouted. "You can't hide from me forever." Blake started crying and said, "Uncle Rick sounds really angry," while Audrey grabbed my hand as the pounding got louder and more aggressive. I grabbed the cereal box and my phone, pulling the kids into the bathroom and locking the door before calling 911. "There's someone trying to break into the house where I'm babysitting," I whispered to the dispatcher, giving her the address while the pounding moved from the front door to the back. Within minutes, I heard sirens and the pounding stopped abruptly. Police officers swept through the house and found us huddled in the bathroom, the kids clinging to me while I clutched that ridiculous Cheerios box. The detective took one look at what I thought was a Glock and started laughing. "Ma'am, this is an airsoft replica, a toy." He showed me the orange tip that had been covered with black marker and the BB loading chamber where bullets should be. I felt my face burn with embarrassment, but then he got serious again. "But you did the right thing by calling us. We arrested Rick outside. He's the kid's uncle who's been harassing the family for money." The detective explained that Rick had been extorting the parents for months, threatening to hurt the family if the father didn't pay his gambling debts. The Watneys rushed home within 20 minutes. The dad looked furious and the mom in tears. "That's my old airsoft Glock from college," the dad explained, examining the toy. "I put it there yesterday after Rick came by demanding $10,000. I wanted something that looked real enough to scare him off if he came back when we weren't home, but safe enough that the kids couldn't actually hurt anyone if they found it." The mom shook her head and said, "I told you this was insane, hiding a fake firearm in cereal. What if she'd had a heart attack?" I finally relaxed, but the strength left my body as I collapsed on the floor from exhaustion.